So yet again, Attack Shark has taken precedent on the TechNuovo channel, but we're definitely not complaining at all. Now every time we check out one of their products, well, gaming mouse that is, I get more and more keen on the brand, and this time I've got the brand new R2 gaming mouse from them on my desk, and I've been using it pretty consistently now for the past few weeks, and I must say, I've got some very good things to say about it. And one thing I do have to mention though, which may be an isolated incident to my model here, as Attack Shark did say they were supplying a pre-release model to me for review, but I think it is worth mentioning in this overall video. The Attack Shark R2 is their newest gaming mouse in the lineup, and I think, but don't quote me on this, it is their lightest weight gaming mouse to date, coming in at 45 grams. Now their X3 model that we took a look at not too long ago came in at 49 grams, so not a huge difference there in that super light mouse to this new R2. And to be honest with you though, the shape is nigh on the same as the X3 anyway, so Attack Shark I think have probably lost the excess weight due to its cage design, which I do actually think looks quite quirky, but it's also made from magnesium alloy. Is that a lightweight material? I assume so, which makes the mouse feel nice and tough in my hand, and a couple of light rage slams down in anger shouldn't really do any damage. The almost shiny two-tone color scheme that I do have here looks odd, I admit, but I personally chose it because it would look much better on camera when filming my B-roll, and to be honest with you, white and black peripherals do get a bit boring once you've seen a few of them. There is no RGB here at all, and it is kind of plain to look at by design, and it does come in grey, white and black too, to cover all types of setups and personalities. The mouse here has an almost ergonomic style feel, though there are two thumb buttons on the left, making this a right-handed mouse only to use, which was of course fine for me, but you lefties out there unfortunately may need to look elsewhere. The R2 does use Omron optical micro switches for its left and right click and thumb buttons, and an F sensor for incremental stepping on the scroll wheel, making it nice and accurate for switching weapons or zooming in and out of a map in games. Clicks do feel nice and satisfying, and travel distance is kept to a minimum, and there is minimal effort to actually click the mouse itself, which is nice. The return rate is good and follows your finger right through the click, and they are pinned for 1,000,000 cycles, and overall the mouse does feel really nice when flicking it around in games. But you know, that movement can also be down to its skates, where you can find a big patch at the front and back and a smaller skate around the sensor, of which is a Pixar PAW 3950, which now that from what I have read that Razer doesn't actually have exclusive access to that sensor anymore with their Viper series, it's free to be used by other manufacturers. Now don't again quote me, I haven't done a huge amount of research on this, but to Attack Shark themselves, using this sensor is super brand new to them, and also the ability to hit an 8000 Hz polling rate with a reduced response time to 0.125 milliseconds from the 1 milliseconds at the 1000 Hz polling rate before, as well as a maximum of 42,000 DPI, which, let's face it, no one is really going to be using that anyway because they haven't got the ability to slow down time or has that precise control when using a mouse, but I do suppose it does look good on the spec sheets and can be used as a bit of a bragging right for Attack Shark. And to be honest with you, I never really went above 1200 DPI because I'm not hugely accurate and don't need that pinpoint accuracy when playing FPS games, and well, I'm not good enough at them to warrant going any higher than that, and I don't really need it to go any faster than 1200 DPI. Now the DPI can be switched on the fly using buttons on the base of the mouse, and you can get them color coded within the R2 driver software, but again, like I said in my recent AJ159 review, I like to switch my DPI while gaming, you know, between going really low with the DPI when sniping and then changing that to a faster DPI when running around as, let's say, an assault class, something like that. And really, flipping the mouse over to do that isn't great. Now, it's also got the ability to use motion sync with an 8000 Hz polling rate without really resulting in dropped polls, but of course, there will be people out there with more gear than me to really test this, so go find another video on YouTube if you really want to know the in-depth details on this. The software now is following suit with the last AJ159 driver I saw from Attack Shark, with settings to change things like the actions of the buttons, the DPI settings, your parameter settings for things like the polling rate and click time intervals, and also your silent height, and finally your macro settings. Clicking the share button this time reveals that people have uploaded their profiles and they're being stored on the software or a database somewhere, but can be accessed via the driver software, but none are for the R2 mouse right now, and they all seem to be for the X3 Pro, so I didn't touch them. It's again a nice bit of software that works and doesn't particularly do anything special or out of the box compared to any other gaming mouse out there, but it is nice and clear and readable and easy to install and not intrusive. Okay, so this is where I want to start talking about gaming because I want to get something out of the way, and as I said in the intro to this video, I don't know if this is an isolated issue on my pre-release model here, but at certain point in games it felt like the mouse really slowed down. Now, for example, in my game of First Descendant, which will be on screen now, there were times when panning between enemies that the mouse almost slowed down, as if the DPI had changed itself to something really low, and it was like the mouse was really trying to catch up to the movement being issued. Now, does that make sense? I have got it on screen now as I recorded it when it did happen, and it was just a little odd. It did only happen a few times though, and only happened when lots was going on and I was making several large movements between targets. But it didn't happen often, but it did happen enough to pick it up and become a bit of a problem when playing games. So just jumping in here while I'm quickly editing this video, I have noticed that this problem has only really happened when I'm using it using the wireless receiver. Now, if I'm using the mouse via its USB 3 cable plugged directly into my gaming PC, the problem goes away. So it's literally only happening when using it wirelessly. So do bear that in mind. Obviously, you've seen all the settings that I have already been using on screen with this mouse, so I'm trying to find a solution here, but I haven't found one at the moment at the time of publishing this review. But for more accuracy, then definitely use it as a wired mouse. But other than that, and I mean, was it a small issue? Maybe. It didn't show up quite often to be a massive problem. I did very much enjoy my time with the R2 gaming mouse, and I have also sent a message back to the rep I've been talking to asking about this slowdown issue, and if I hear back or get another model sent through to test one of the retail versions, I will create a YouTube short about this and let you know. But I did play a number of titles with the R2, including some Once Human, some Overwatch 2 and some Proteus, and for the most part, except the incremental slowdowns that I did detect, it was a pretty decent experience. But let's talk about the price, because it costs currently $123 on the UK version of the Attack Shark website, so probably closer to around 100 to the £110 mark if we're converting the price, which isn't really cheap when the last time I screamed about how their AJ159 was such a good price. But now I do think that Attack Shark are being a little opportunistic and trying to go up against the big boys like Razer. And really, why not? If you look at, say, the Razer Viper V2 Pro, which is using the same sensor, the cost isn't really that different between that and the R2, although the Viper V2 Pro is an older mouse now. But are Attack Shark looking at, say, the Razer Viper V3 that's just been released, which although isn't using the 3950 sensor, it's using their proprietary sensor. It still has the 8K polling rate and motion sync capabilities and is almost nigh on a similar mouse. Okay, not in shape or design, but certainly by sensor. But to be honest with you, I do get it here that the Viper V3 is sitting at around £160 online, or 159, something like that. So in this instance, the R2 from Attack Shark at, say, closer to the 100 to 110 £110 mark makes it a lot cheaper option. But who knows? All I can say though is that this mouse was pretty decent, albeit pretty frustrating with the drop sensitivity that I experienced. Thank you very much for checking out this video review of the Attack Shark R2 gaming mouse. If you did enjoy this video, then hit that like button, subscribe to keep up with our latest tech and gaming videos, and also let us know in the comments down below, would you go for something like this, or would you rather sink your money into, say, the Razer Viper V3, or even go for last year or the year before, so I can't remember when it was released, the Razer Viper V2 Pro with the same sensor. Let us know in the comments down below what you prefer. As I say, or even if you've got one, if you've got one of these, let us know how you feel about this mouse as well, or any other Attack Shark product for that matter. As I say, thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.